have a wonderful, wonderful woman in our community now. And I don't know how much to say about her, but what I do know is she is one of the most inspiring women in our area at this time. And she is such an inspiration to encourage people to move and to go and to do. And I thought it'd be fitting to call Miss April Ross of BTV, because we were honoring our entrepreneurs. This year we wanted to really encourage our entrepreneurs to take that leap of faith, to step out and to do something that you never thought you can do. With what you had, use what you got. And I thought it not any other person that could tell that story any better than our very own Miss April Ross of BTV. So I'd like to introduce the song. She would tell her story. She would tell you all about it and present to others, none other than I call her Miss B, because she loved the honeybees. April Ross of BTV 33. Put your hands together. Woo. Miss April, inspire us.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I want to thank Miss Kelly. She didn't tell me she could sing, y'all. Oh man, I really enjoyed Vision. Is that what it is? Vision Community Choir. Y'all gonna let me join? Oh man, y'all were amazing. I want to thank Miss Kelly for inviting me to be your speaker on this evening. I want to thank my husband for supporting me on this evening. Give it up for the King. My children are here. I really appreciate love being in Roanoke, Alabama. This is our coverage area. We're on channel 22 here, right? 15. I think it's 15 here. So make sure if you have Spectrum to tune in to BTV 33. And tonight, as she mentioned, we were talking to entrepreneurs, and it's kind of hard. Do I have any entrepreneurs in the building? So you all know how it is. I won't call it the struggle, but you all know how it is when you're trying to maintain and when you're trying to put your brand out there. And I thought it was befitting when she sent it to me, Be the Brand. I especially love the B part. So as I started out on my journey of owning BTV, it was not easy for what you see right now. It still ain't easy. But I know that with God, all things are certainly possible. If you only believe and trust in Him, I promise you it is. Be the brand. I know a little bit of something about being the brand. And what I have found out in life is there are two types of brands. When you go looking for a brand that you love in the store or you're looking online, there's a leading brand and then there's an off-brand. What is the off-brand versus the leading brand? Well, the leading brand is very clear of its intent and who they are and what they want to be and how they want to be represented as the leading brand. They are constantly working on being the best in their prospective places and very intentional about their integrity, their growth, and leading in their field. Now, when I started BTV Network, I really wanted to be the best of what I can be. I was never concerned about the competition because I know what God instilled in April Ross. I did not have to guess about being the brand because God set the foundation years ago. If we have kids in the room, I'm going to tell you, you're going to get to that point in life as I did when I was 18 years old. And I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. And some of us still trying to find out what we want to be when we grow up. But I tell you, I had enough sense because, see, I had a praying father and mother, and they taught me that when you don't know, you go to the man who's going to tell you the answer. Because what I've learned in life is that people will give you their opinion, but God will always give you the answer. So I had enough sense at 18 years old. When people were going out to college, they were getting their scholarships. And one of my friends asked me, said, where you going? I said, I'm going to Milligan. I'm going to work in the mill like my daddy. And he said, you too good for that. And I said, oh, I ain't too good working up at a mill. But then I realized what he was really saying was, you got more to offer. So I said, well, I don't know. It left me stumped. So I was going to ask Mama, I was going to ask Daddy, but then I realized they made me, but God created me. That's the man who really knew my plan. So I got on my knees at 18 years old and said, God, just simply, what do you want me to be? Because I have no clue. And he put in me that I was going to be on television. Fast forward, my journey started. I went to the Alabama State University. Do we have any Hornets in the building? At HBCU, that's right. Got my degree, and then I got me a job at the television station, working behind the scenes, working the cameras. Y'all, I was working that camera with a three-piece suit on because I was trying to get to that anchor desk. I was working it with a three-piece suit on. Everybody else who worked the camera, the guy was like, man, ain't nobody looking at you. I mean, we got sweats on in here. I said, I know God looking at me. I'm trying to get their position. I'm not trying to stay right here. So I was very intentional about being the leading brand, okay? But an opportunity came when they had a position open. Oh, y'all, this was my chance. I went to apply, because God told me, remember, I'm going to be on television. So I applied for the position. And then the news director said, stay behind the camera, you ain't ready. I was devastated, but not destroyed. I was bent, but not broken. Because I remember, he's going to be true to his word. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know he's going to be true to his word. So when I was told no, that I wasn't going to do that, I left that job. I ain't telling nobody to quit their job. I'm just telling what I did. So fast forward, then an incident happened in our area in West Point, Georgia, where a deputy was shot. There were several people who were in our community. They didn't know what was going on because when it was one of their own, they called in what they call, I think, a 00. And that means they had sheriffs coming from all over the county because one of their own had got hit, and then there was a standoff. A young lady called me, and she said, we don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of police up here. Can you go and act like a reporter and go Facebook Live? I said, that's gonna look crazy. And she said, well, don't you have a degree? I said, yeah, I got a degree. She said, well, go on and use what you got, what you just said. So I took that iPhone 6, y'all. I went on up there, and when I got up there, because I had another brand called Honey Productions, and we had just talked about we're going to start doing different things with Honey Productions, but I didn't want to call it Honey TV, so bees make honey. So that's how we came up with BTV, and people often ask me, well, how did you come up with honey? It's called, that's my honey, and I'm his honey, and we never called each other by name. We just called each other, hey, honey. So fast forward, we went live, and from then on, BTV was birthed that day. I got a lot of followers, a lot of viewers, but I never paid attention to the likes and shares because I was only concerned about doing great work and putting out great content because I was intentional about my brand being the leading brand. Because being an off-brand means I'm trying to be like somebody else. Be an imposter. I wanted to be the real deal. That was my leading brand. So I started this brand, BTV, with no money, no office, no staff, but just simply my iPhone 6 in my hand. After that day, I became the local news lady. They were calling me for everything. I was running around town, getting the local news, until one day, my husband, who really taught me how to navigate of being an entrepreneur, and he said, you're doing a really good job. I love what you're doing, but this ain't making no money. This don't pay no bills. So how are we going to monetize this? You got to think about it. And I said, I'm having fun. I'm doing what God called me to do. He said, well, God better call some money because this ain't working. So again, I said, God, you got to show me. So one day, a young man called me, and my husband told me, he said, this is what we're going to do because I need you to be real serious. So he put me up to the test, and he said, if you can make $1,200, bring in $1,200 a month, keep doing what you're doing. But if not, then you're going to have to go to KMMG, and that's the Kia plant. I said, the devil is a lie. I ain't doing that. That's what I said to myself now, because I know how to be a submissive wife. I just said, oh, okay. But I said, God, you got to do something. And it was 24 hours later, a young man called me, and he said, hey, I see what you're doing. I've been following you. I said, oh, yeah. And he was like, hey, I work at the Kia dealership, and I need to sell these 3 cars. You think you can help me? And I said, how am I going to help you? And he said, well, can you go Facebook Live and we're going to tell them about the cars? And I said, well, yeah. And he said, how much you charge me for that? And I said, I don't know, I guess $75. He was like, man, come on. So I went on up to Kia dealership, did the live. About 9:30 that night, he called me and he said, I hate to call you so late, but my GM want to talk to you in the morning. I said, you're a GM? And he said, yeah, because the 3 cars got sold that day. He said, and what he wanted to know was, who is BTV? The people were running through the door saying, I saw it on BTV. I saw it on BTV. So he said, have a proposal ready because he wants some business from you. So I thought about it. I asked God, what you want me to do, God? And he led me. That $1,200 that my husband wanted me to bring in, God said, I'll do it 3 times as that, okay? So you ain't gonna go to the plant, you gonna go to the dealership, okay? Oh, y'all, my God big. Do y'all hear me? So as I mentioned, you guys, that when you're doing a brand, those who are entrepreneurs, I know we're talking about being the brand, be the brand. The other day I was in a meeting and the question popped up. We was in a meeting that helped minority businesses. And the question came up, it was about 10 of us in the room, and they asked each one of us, what is your favorite brand? And it was a strategic branding meeting, and it's leading up to this night. And so some people said, this guy said, Kohan, I love Kohan. Then somebody said, I love Tory Burch. I love Gucci. Oh, I love the Cotton Nail. They were just naming all their brands. So when he got to me, he said, I picked you last. And I said, okay. And he said, what is your favorite brand, April Ross? I said, well, I like what everybody said, but I'm going to be honest with you, the only brand that I know of, that I see, is BTV. I gotta believe in me when nobody else gonna believe in me. Because I know that a lot of times on my knees, I can't be praying for Gucci, I gotta be praying for BTV. I have to be intentional about the content that I do. And see, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears have gone into trying to create this BTV brand to buzz around. So I'm not gonna drop it and then go pick up something else. I gotta have a leading brand. So that's the only thing. Every day when you see me, you're going to see me in yellow, you'll see me in white, and you're going to see me in black. Every day. He said, even before I came through that door that day, he said, the people who were there before me, he said, we had already said, what's she going to have on? She going to have on yellow. I walked through the door. I'm true to who I am. They said, you got on yellow. Exactly. Because I feel like this, that I'm trying to leave a legacy for my children. I'm trying to let them know that as a woman and a woman of color, you can do anything. I did not have any money. I did not have any stuff. All I had was my belief in what God told me that I would be. So fast forward, going back in 2017 when I started BTV with an iPhone, a cell phone, with no money, no office, none of that, I never looked at my competitors, as I mentioned before. Because then, when you start looking at other people, you'll start being an off-brand. And what that simply means is trying to be and do something you are not supposed to be. Trying to do it because you saw somebody else doing it. Oh, I see they doing it. I think I can do that. Then you're jumping over here. Next week you're doing that. Oh, next week I'm doing this over here. Just be true to the one thing that you can do. And just do it to the best of your ability. Now, don't get me wrong. It's going to be some things that other people would do. But they ain't going to do it like you. There's plenty of other television stations, but they ain't going to do it the way BTV going to do it. It's plenty of designers. Don't let that stop you being the next designer, because that same stitch that they do, you just going to do the stitch a little different. Everybody got their different, unique style of doing what they're going to do. Fast forward, I said I'm going to always be a leading brand. My husband and I, in 2021, we purchased BTV 33 out of LaGrange. We purchased TV 33 and renamed it BTV 33. That made me the first black woman in the state of Georgia to own a television network. We are in 600,000 homes. We are in 11 counties. It is nobody but the grace of God who got me here. Only because I followed his plan. Only because I trusted his will. And we just started this in 2021. I'm just waiting to see what he's going to do in 2023, 24, and 25. Because as he showed me, my dad worked for the man that was the first TV station owner. He worked for that man. He labored in that yard to store this station up for his daughter. They told me just in a meeting today, this man said, "How do you feel? It was just two white men that owned the station before you." And I said, "Well, I'm the first black woman. I'm going to be the last owner, unless my kids decide to sell it. But I'm not going anywhere. I've worked too hard." So anything that you do in life, put your best foot forward. Don't sell out. Have integrity in what you do. I'm having a casting call that's coming up on next Saturday. Because I said, I don't have to show what they show on television. That's fine if they want to do. But I want to bring back great content and integrity and have families laugh again. That you can sit in the room and say, don't turn your head, close your ears. That you can all sit down as a family. We can have those type of programming on the station. I'm going to bring those things back. And as I close, y'all know how we preachers, we say, I ain't no preacher though, but you know y'all say I'm finna close. I'm really finna close. But as I mentioned earlier, that God was true to his word. When I said that I prayed at the age of 18, and he said that I was going to be on television. And then the man told me no. I was devastated, but I wasn't destroyed. But now years later, I realized, because I'm 51 now, I realized years later that I was just simply thinking too small. When God told me that I was going to be on television, I was thinking I'm going to be behind the desk. But what he was really saying, you're going to own it. O-W-N it, not be on it. So I'm just grateful to God for what he has done. And it's very important when you're going through and you have a spouse with you, you got a praying spouse with you to help you on this journey. My husband retired a few weeks ago. I didn't retire from y'all, we ain't got it like that. But he retired 2 weeks ago. Because God is now transitioning us. I needed some help. And why not have my helpmate, the man that lay with me, the man that pray with me, and gonna be my backbone when things get rough. He gonna be right there. Like today when I was on my way, I said, I forgot the battery. He hopped on his motorcycle, ran to LaGrange, and got back here in time. But see, that's when you got a good helpmate, okay? He just said, oh, well, you better pick up that cell phone. You know how to use it. He didn't say that. He hopped on his motorcycle, ran all the way to LaGrange. He said, y'all just get there and set it up. I got your back. And he's had my back ever since. Kelly, I want to thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you guys. And Rono, we gonna be back. I want y'all to do is like our BTV page. Please stay connected to BTV because we coming here, y'all. We're your news source. We are BTV 33. Thank you.
Good afternoon. How we doing, everybody? Good, good. Y'all enjoy that? We are Sahi on Kojani. Let me hear you say Sahi on Kojani. Sahi on Kojani is a West African term from the Fulani people, which means the time is now. So is the time now? Is the time now for us to come together? It's time now for unity. It's the time now for progress. That's awesome. Give yourselves a hand. The piece that we just did was called Getting Fiery in some places, Yoki and others. It's a women's dance and rhythm that's done for women. And we want you to know we appreciate your energy. You clap, if you feel like dancing at any time, feel free to do so. But this is a celebration of Juneteenth, right? So the next piece we're going to do is called Yankadi. Let me hear you say Yankadi. It's a two-part dance and rhythm. It's a courtship dance and rhythm. It has two parts, Yankadi, and then we go into my crew. It's done a lot of times in social occasions in Guinea, West Africa. Without further ado, we give you Yankadi.